We are on the site of the castle.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Look at that. Absolutely fascinating. That's what you do. You buy these players that cost money and make a difference in it. But we never do that.
Never complains, gets up, gets on with a smile on his face.
We just want you to sit in your chair and go hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative. You dare dictate you the same old every single day without this. If you haven't seen it before, please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Stallone. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's me again from last night. Haven't stopped. I told you I'd be on time today, didn't I? Told you. Got a guest on as well. I asked them to. This is the music man, actually. Derek Shelmerdine. I asked them to review a couple of films I told him to watch, and he's on with me this morning, and it's good. So I forgot what I asked him to review, to be honest. But anyway, I've got a couple of films for you today. Have a look at. They're absolutely brilliant, honestly. This is my opinion. One of them, I'm going to tell you right now, is people love James Stewart. I can't stand his voice, so I don't watch him. I've only watched him in 2 films. That was that Christmas one, What a Wonderful Life, because that's normally out, and Flight of the Phoenix with Richard Darling, little Dickie Darling Attenborough. He's in a great cast as well, all stalwarts. Peter Finch, Ronald Fraser, absolutely brilliant film. Ian Bannon, really good film. So have a look at that. And this one behind me, this if you like, it's a little horror one, but it's about vampires. Josh Hartnett, coordination. And this girl here, I forget her name, but she's a good actress. So have a look at that, 30 Days. These are all on YouTube, by the way. And I'll tell you a couple of more. I'm just going to say, Callum. Well, morning, Frankenstein. Thank you very much, Frankenstein. Thanks, Callum. Morning, everyone. Says Richard Hawkins. This is a Man United fan all the way from Belfast, and he's a good lad, actually. He is. He's genuine. And Gary Rigby. Morning, Frank, and everyone. I'm going to bring in Derek here. Oh, and Gravit plus 66 Trent. Hey, Frank. Hey, Gravit. I hope you're well. Garvett, not Gravit, it's Garvett. New haircut for you there, Frank. No, I had to wash it. Right after the show, I'm getting my haircut. To be honest. Just bear me out. I'm sorry, Derek. I won't be a minute. Garvett sup. Yeah, I'm well. Okay, that's good. That's good, Garbutt. Um, we're all well here anyway. Frank, I sent you a 3+ MP3 radio show last night about Area 51. Art Bell, at the height of his success, had 15-20 million listeners in the US and Canada. Jason said he would send them. Yeah, he will. He's send them through to me. Thank you very much, Richard, because it was very interesting last night what we were on about, with the conspiracy theories and that. But thank you so much. Frank, are you nervous? No. Oh, tomorrow? No. 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 No, no, no. Listen, boys, I'll have to bring in this money. Good morning, Jerry.
Hi, Frank. Good to see you again, mate.
Sorry to keep you waiting there.
Oh, no rush at all.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Anyway, I asked you to watch a few films, so
Right.
you watched them?
Absolutely. I mean, 3 interesting films, all love stories in a way, in very different ways, and lots of twists and turns. And I mean, the one that you've got the poster behind you, 30 Days a Night. I mean, that's a great film. I'd seen that 2 years ago, and it was great fun watching it again. And all 3 films were quite interesting. Well, 30 Days a Night is relatively straightforward in terms of how the plot develops. But A Walk in the Clouds, as you're thinking, and The Lake House, well, I mean, that really has you going at the beginning to try and work out what's going on. But it all falls into place. And what I love about films like this is the more you're getting deeper into the film, the more you realize what the first scene was about. And a lady is sick on a guy in a train for no apparent reason. And it just passes by until later in the film, you realize something and a little light bulb goes up and says, oh, that's why she was sick.
Yeah.
Things like that. And that's often, I think, why when you're watching movies for a second or third time, you pick up more nuances than you picked up the first time. Sometimes it's good to have seen a film so you know roughly where it's going. And then as you're watching the film, you're getting more out of actually what you're appreciating, basically, what's going on. And you see the subtleties and how clever the writing is, the direction is, to be able to maintain a sort of almost an unknown situation into the context of where it is at that time until it's explained, maybe half an hour, 3/4 of an hour later. And I love all that.
Well, it's out of a scale out of 5, what would you give it? And would you highly recommend it to the listeners?
Well, 30 Days a Night.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. If you're into the horror genre, you need to be into horror, not necessarily a big horror devotee.
No,
but you need to enjoy that horror, because with horror films, you've got to suspend disbelief, as they say.
Yes.
And if you're into that kind of movie, it's a great movie. I've seen a lot worse. It's an absolute great movie. Yeah, I mean, 4.5 out of 5, absolutely.
And the acting's good, isn't it? The
acting's excellent. Again, there's a love story running through it. I mean, Keanu Reeves plays the sheriff, and Stella is his ex-girlfriend, and they're really the 2 protagonists. But his brother, features in it a bit, and several other characters, most of which come to a very sticky end.
Yes.
In the film.
Yeah. It's it's an ending that you don't expect.
That's right. Oh, it's
really clever. But I think it's one of the best vampire films, because it is about vampires. There's no getting away from that without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
And but I tell you what, the vampires are scary.
Absolutely, they're not vampires in the traditional sense.
No, they're not. No.
I mean, they speak their own language, and they've got these wonderful pointy teeth. They haven't just got a couple of pointy teeth; they've got a whole set of them.
They look, I don't know where they got the actors from. They must have gone like, you'll do for the vampire, you'll do for one, and you do for one. compared to the other cast members, if you know what I mean. God blimey, absolutely brilliant. But the leader, I think, I'm sorry.
No, sorry, I was just going to say the guy who plays the sort of chief vampire. I mean, he's a really scary character. You wouldn't want to bump into him on a blind alley.
You know, I was just going to mention him. He's a big actor. I forget his name, and I've seen him in loads of things. You know, he's a Hollywood actor, and I've seen him in loads of things. But I was going to say, isn't he frightening? Frightening.
I think the film sets the scene well as well. If I just opening, sometimes you have a little bit of background as to what it's about, and it opens with the lines running: Barrow, Alaska, northernmost town in the U.S., isolated in 80 miles of roadless wilderness, cut off every winter for 30 days of night, and then that last line, cut off every winter, fades, and it just leaves 30 Days of Night, which is the title of the film. I thought that was really quite clever. And then it opens with a guy walking through deep snow with a high wind, and you feel cold just looking at it. I mean, you really do.
And what you think, like when he's walking through the snow and he turns and he sees this like ship, a big ship, it's just like bait, isn't it? As we call it, no man's land. It's just there, and he keeps looking at it. And then he walks, and he just sees this small town from a hill. From a hill, he looks down, and then all of a sudden you see, the two main cops who are in it, and they're looking at all these mobile phones burnt, and that's the start of it, isn't it? That was a great scene. That was a great.
Well, what's that all about? Because there's no rhyme nor reason at that particular point. And of course, it opens basically on the last day of sun. So a lot of the town actually leave for that 30 days. I mean, basically, it is night for 30 days until the sun comes up again. And in fact, what was great, it starts with it was Jack Warden, I think, who said a film should start with an earthquake and build up to a climax. And I think this film almost does that, because the opening, shortly after that opening scene, and you can see people scurrying around packing their cases and stuff. Stella, the ex-girlfriend, leaves in a car. She wants to, because she doesn't want to stay around for the 30 days, 30 nights. And then there's this awesome car crash with this great big tractor thing with like a battering ram on the front.
And do you know what? It startles you, that, doesn't it? Because you just see it, right? And all of a sudden, bang, it startles you. Really good. And I'll tell you what line I liked. We'll go to the next film now. But when him and the cop and they're looking at all these, phones burnt, and he said, "You must be kids, being fed up with their parents. That's why they burns all these mobile phones." And then the sun's going down, isn't it? And he said, the other cop to Josh Hartnett says, brought Mary, well, whatever her name is, brought Mary up here. We used to do this. And he said, we all did. As he just looked at him, he said, not you, not Mary. I thought that was a great, nice line, the way they put it over. But you'd expected something. And I just thought, so, out of 5, what would you give it?
I definitely give that a 4.5. I mean, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I'd give it I'd give it the extra half, to be honest. I give it a 5. I think it's a must-see film.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what was your second one?
A Walk in the Clouds, I think, is a really interesting one. That's another Keanu Reeves film. And it really is... well, I mean, it's very much a love story, but a love story in a way you probably never at the opening. It's set in 1945, just after the war, and the troops are coming home, the American troops. Oh, they're disembarking.
Yeah.
And one of the guys says to Keanu Reeves, "When did you last see your wife?" He said, "Go." Oh, he got married on the Sunday and he shipped out on the Saturday. He shipped out on the Sunday, kind of thing. You know, they only knew each other for a couple of days. Typical kind of wartime situation, probably. But what he notices is when he arrives, his wife is called Betty. She's not there at the port to meet him, so he goes home, opens the front door. "Hi, I'm back." And for 4 years earlier, and but there's no way don't quite understand, but I thought it was a great touch. Piece of improvement LPs, and she's dressed in her underwear for no reason. There's actually nobody else in the house, and it turns out that Keanu Reeves had written to her like nearly every day for the best part of 4 years. She opens this case with hundreds and hundreds of letters in, and she's never read any of them. Her argument is that the fact that you were alive was good enough for me. I was worried about you, blah, blah. But the reality, I mean, she comes across as very, very flighty in that opening scene. And in his letters, he'd say, you know, he was explaining all the things he wanted. He wanted a house, he wanted a family, he wanted children, he wanted to get a really good job. And she hadn't read any of this, so she had no idea what was coming. And he said he wanted a good job. He was a chocolate salesman, door-to-door type traveling salesman selling chocolate. And she said, "Oh, I've been to your boss and I've got your job back, but you need to sell your chocolates in your uniform, because obviously, you know, it'd be quite a big attraction for selling things, war heroes."
That was the main thing. That was Derek. That was the main thing. The uniform. That was the main thing. That's why she married him, because he looked good in his uniform.
Yeah.
And you know, at the time, lots of people did get married.
Oh,
you know, before they went away, they were expecting them to be killed.
And then
you reckon 80% of the people that married expected their husbands to be killed, and they got a little bit of compensation. And that's 80%. There was no interest in the marriage whatsoever. They didn't expect them back. That's a factor. That's a well-known historical fact. And they expected, you know, to be compensated. That's why they married like a few
Sorry,
days
Frank, I
ago.
didn't hear any of that. The sound's dropping out all the time.
My sounds or your sounds dropping out as well, to be honest. You're frozen. Poor Derek's frozen.
I'm probably not there now. I didn't catch anything of what you just said.
I just called you for everything. No, I haven't. You're frozen. You're freezing all the time. You bring it
you
up.
are. Well, yeah.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. Do you want to turn it off and come back on?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't had anything except the last 5 minutes, basically.
Okay. Well, do you want to turn yourself off and come back on? Did you hear that?
No.
You keep freezing. See, it's not my part, honestly. It's your part.
Yeah.
You keep freezing. So if you turn your, I hope you can hear me. If you can turn yourself off and come back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, come back in again. Okay, yes, no problem. Please. See you shortly.
Well, anyway, what he was talking about there, A Walk in the Clouds, Keanu Reeves, it's a very, very good film. And it's an unusual film. As Derek was explaining there, you know, this fella just comes home from the war, Second World War. He just comes home. And basically, when he goes in, he just finds his he just finds his wife in bed with this fella, and he just goes, looks out, and you just see him. He's getting off then, and he gets a bus. He just jumps on a bus. He's a chocolate salesman. Right away, just goes, and that's the beginning of the story. I was just saying, when he jumps on the bus, Keanu Reeves.
Oh, that's brilliant.
After them finding his wife in bed with another man, he just goes as a child.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, can you hear me okay now? Is that better? Oh, excellent. Yeah, I thought it was great though. Yeah, he gets into, as you say, into that train, and the Victoria lady. She drops a case, it bursts open. Like, being the gentleman he is the absolute gentleman throughout the film. He helps to put it on. Then she's sick over him, and you think, oh dear, how unlucky can you get? And then he has the first of his flashbacks, as a lot of soldiers do. And what's interesting is it's set. The flashback is set in a completely bombed out orphanage, and that becomes apparent fairly shortly as well. And it's absolute carnage. It was all kinds of stuff. And the next scene then, he gets off the train, gets onto the bus for the next stage of his journey, and lo and behold, Victoria is sitting just opposite him, and they're having a chat. And two obnoxious guys get on and start to chat her up in a very aggressive kind of way. And he says, "Come on, lads, leave her alone. You know she's not interested." "Yes, she is. Yes, she is." Anyway, one of the guys puts his arm around her. So, this guy's infantry soldier, so probably doesn't want to be tangled with too often. He gets up and he gives both of them a bit of a slap. And the nice bus conductor lady throws the three of them off the coach. So the next scene is him walking up the road toward, presumably, the next bus stop, and he finds her sitting there on the cases. Now, I immediately thought, oh, she's got off because she wants to meet him again. But no, that was her stop. And so they get chatting. And she said, "Well, why are you sitting here?" He said, "Well, I'm terrified of going home and facing my father." And that's
the mystery. That is the mystery. You're not going to tell us the old story, are you?
No. Just the first plan. She was studying for a master's, and she became pregnant by a professor.
Oh, you shouldn't have said it. You shouldn't have said that.
Well, in the film, it is there because they can.
That was the mystery.
I wouldn't have said that was a big mystery, because they then concoct this plan that it's her. Yeah, it's his child, that he's her husband. He'll stay there for one night, and then leave the following day, and she can then just say that she's been abandoned by the husband, so she won't have brought shame on the family for being pregnant in an unmarried situation, because very traditional Mexican family.
Okay, so that's when the story really starts, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And what's great is that's when they go to a house, and this is really where this, as you say, the story, the real plot really starts to develop. The reason for what's going on really starts to develop. When they get to a house, it's a big vineyard, and it's called the Clouds. So, a walk in the clouds. I thought that was quite a clever idea.
Yeah.
And the whole thing that transpires then, he was an orphan himself. The father takes immediate dislike to him because he's a.
You're giving too much, Derek. Honestly, you're giving too much away. You're telling the story.
This is to me how it transpired.
Yeah, but it's just a review. Right. to say, whether to watch it or whatever. It's as simple as that. Whether to watch it, just an overview, not like the story and the big houses and whatever, and the only that's the way I review. I'll tell you that is a review of mine, okay, and it's A Flight of the Phoenix. If you haven't seen, The Flight of the Phoenix is about oil workers, and they're somewhere in the Middle East, and they all jump on the plane. They're all going back. They're having like a few weeks leave or whatever, and they all take off, and they're a mismatch of characters. They're a mismatch of characters. There's even a British officer in the army, and his sergeant. They're on the plane, and you've got James Stewart. He's the pilot. You've got the other fella, Richard Attenborough. He's a co-pilot, and also who's on board is Hardy Kruger. These are all great actors, and he's a German. He's a German, and he's a very laid-back German, by the way. And you can imagine, like, during the film, he's authoritative. And then, anyway, they take off, and unfortunately, a bit of a sandstorm hits them, and they goes down into the desert. They're in the middle of nowhere. There's no radio. There's no nothing. And that's where the film begins. This is where you see the characters coming out and manifesting into their own situations, and it's excellent. It's a really excellent film. Do they get out of the desert? You've got to find out. It's an absolutely cracking film. As I said, I don't like the other fella, James Stewart. I can't stand the voice. I can't stand that voice of his. And but that's one of the two films I've ever seen him in. That's Flight of the Phoenix. Don't watch the remake of Flight of the Phoenix with I forget his name, but don't watch it. That absolutely terrible. It was a woke kind of film remake. Never worked. But the original, the '65 one, is excellent. I'll give a 5 out of 5. And that's my review. Have you seen Flight of the Phoenix?
I have. I mean, it's an absolutely brilliant film. And I think you're right about it. Very rarely is a sequel as good as, not a sequel, a remake.
A remake, yeah.
I mean, there are one or two exceptions, I expect. I mean, Star is Born. It's got some great remakes. But Flight of the Phoenix is an excellent movie. I give that a 5.
There you go. There you go. So what's the other one that you were going to review?
Well, the other one's The Lake House. Another Keanu Reeves film. And Sandra Bullock.
Can I ask you something there, Derek? You know when you said another Keanu Reeves. Now, you mentioned The Walk in the Clouds, which is a very clever film.
Oh, absolutely.
And this film is another very clever film, don't you think? And the way it worked out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Keanu Reeves is an architect in it. And Sandra Bullock, you said you're not keen on Jimmy Stewart. I've never seen a Sandra Bullock film before that I've enjoyed, but I really enjoyed this one. I mean, I thought, was it not Crash, the one in the bus runaway bus? Speed. We'll give that a 1 out of 10, 1 out of 100. But I actually really enjoyed this. And it's a very, very clever film. And it centers around, as it suggests, the lake house, which is a house that Keanu Reeves' father built that's on the lake. Beautiful, beautiful situation. And if I could just explain the beginning, because that sort of sets the scene for the whole thing. This one, you really think half an hour into the film, oh, what was that all about? And it transpires. And what it is Sandra Bullock had lived in the house. She moved out, and she leaves a note to say, will you please forward any mail to this address, and gives him an address, or puts an address in the letter. And Keanu Reeves moves into the house, sees the letter, reads it, and at the end of the letter it says, oh, by the way, the dog paw prints were on the sort of landing, the runway into the house before I bought it. He looks at them. He looks at the wrong way into the house, and he thinks, I can't see any dog paw prints. They must have been erased. Anyway, he drives. The next scene is Sandra Bullock's driving away from the lake house to go to work, and she passes a junction. And as she passes the junction, it's a T junction basically. As she passes the junction, another car truck drives up towards it, and you notice now that the ground is covered in snow. So immediately you think, that's interesting. That suggests we've either just gone forward. Suggests to me that either we've just gone forward in time or we've gone backward in time. And that's exactly what happens. I mean, it's a very, very, really well written, interesting story. A love affair across 2 years, basically. One of them is living in 2004, the other is living in 2006. And the whole story is then how they communicate. They write letters to each other, and these letters just automatically appear in those wonderful American post boxes with the flag on, and they just appear in them. And the film then develops so that you see how they make contact with each other, and do they come together? Don't they come together? Absolutely fascinating movie. It turns out that the dog that made the paw prints, I thought was fascinating, was owned by both of them. It was the same dog. And I thought that was a lovely little piece to the, because the dog's a very important part. I mean, the way they, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock sort of come together is because the dog's being taken for a walk and it runs off. And it's very cleverly written. The dog leads them into a situation where one of them's talking to somebody else who turns out to be the sort of boyfriend, girlfriend of the other one. So they meet indirectly. And the first time that they meet, one of them knows that there's a 2-year gap, and one of them doesn't realize. And it develops on from there. And there's also major reference to a book called Persuasion, Jane Austen. Now, I've never read that, so that passed me by. But I got the idea from what they were saying, where it was all about don't give up. From there.
I've done literature, and Jane Austen is the bane of my life. All her things, what it was. I had to go in and teach literature once, and go back a few years ago, and I was given this Jane Austen thing, Emma, and I read it. I had to read it for the class, and all her books, what was going on at the time was the Napoleonic Wars. And she never broke out of her little circle of people. Nothing was mentioned about the Napoleonic Wars, nothing at all. While you had the likes of Mary Shelley, who was writing Frankenstein, the very first science fiction book, novel. And as I said, Jane Austen, and awful. I thought she was awful. Yet, lots of people like this particular authoress, if you like, author, or should we say authoress or author? I don't know what to say in these woke days. But anyway, to me, she was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. And yet, you had fantastic. Female writers at the time. You had, a little bit later on, you had the Bronte sisters, who were absolutely phenomenal in every novel they did. One of the greatest novels ever written was by Charlotte Bronte, and that was we've got it here. I forgot it. Jane Eyre. what her name was getting mixed up with Jane Eyre and bloody Jane Austen. Yeah, Jane Eyre, one of the greatest.
No, it's exactly. I can never remember which was which.
I know it's shocking, isn't it? You know, you think you come up with the wrong name or whatever, but
Absolutely.
Back to the likes of what you've been talking about, the Lake House. The Lake House is a great title. There's great acting, and who plays? Can you remember who plays Keanu Reeves' dad? I think he's frozen.
Yeah, he's great. He's famous actor.
Christopher Plummer.
Yes. He's great in it.
They're all great, every one. Even his brother.
It's interesting, both of those films, Walking Out. Yeah, both of those, Lake House and Walk in the Cloud. There's this conflict with the father, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I think the characters. Don't forget, A Walk in the Clouds. We've got Anthony Quinn in it as well, and he plays a matriarch, doesn't he?
That's right. He was
not a matriarch, a patriarch. He plays, and that's a great part. So every single one of the films, each film, as we mentioned, from the likes of 30 Days of Night, each character is brilliant. Each character of A Walk in the Clouds is great. Each character of the Lake House, because in the Lake House he has a brother who's not hardly in it, but he's pivotal to the story.
Oh, absolutely.
He's hardly in it.
Yeah.
So so what would you give out of 5 for the Lake House?
I give it a 5 because it keeps you thinking all the way through, and it's a sort of film. I've only ever watched one film back to back because when it got to the end, the twist at the end referred to the beginning, and it really you have to see it in context to get the flavor of it. And I saw one when it turned out that the guy lying there wasn't really dead at all, and I thought, whoa. So I watched it back to back, and I think the Lake House. I didn't watch it back to back, but I did pause it and review back. One of the benefits of not sitting in the cinema, you can just go back and check scenes again.
I'm glad you said that because it's one of those films where you don't want to miss a beat of it. You just don't want to be, so if you're going to make a cup of tea, pause it and make yourself a cup of tea, then get right back to it. Or if you think that you've missed something, that's what I've done. I've gone back. I've got, not just saying for the Lake House or, A Walk in the Clouds or whatever. I'm talking about every film that I've watched. But there's some films that, you watch first 5 minutes and I just go, I throw it up. It's not where you get a title. If you get a little synopsis about, say, like former special ops. Once it says former special ops, you know the story. Say like something happens in the town, the small town that he was brought up in. And he comes former special, he's going to sort everything out. Everything's going to be rosy. I don't like those type of films. I just don't like them. I won't watch them. There's a film I'm going to recommend, and it's a Liam Neeson one. It's a Liam Neeson one. You're not going to believe this. Said I'll write this down, but anyway, you'll get the gist of it. You will be able to find. I forget the bloody title. And Liam Neeson, he's just living out in say Alaska somewhere, and he's a plowman moving snow. One of these fellas who's just moving snow to keep the roads open. and he's married, and he just goes home and everything else, and has quiet evenings. But he gets an award for person of the year, and that's just for like keeping the roads open for everybody, so that in deep snow, so that they could get from A to B, and the work's still getting carried on, people going to work. So this is what he does for a living. And he has a son, and his son comes in one night, he just pays a visit because he doesn't live with them. And he works at the airport, the son. And his mother says, "Do you want something to eat?" And he said, "No." He said, "I have to go." He said, "I'm on the shift." So he said, "Okay." So they said, "Okay." The maid's up with this son. They love him, obviously, because it's the son. It's the only child, in other words. And Liam Neeson, he finds out that he died. And it changed his wife. And he goes, they have to go to identify the body. And what it is, it was a drug overdose. And Liam Neeson says to the cop, my son never took drugs in his life. I wouldn't know. And his mother said the same. He was never and he starts thinking, my son wouldn't take drugs. There's no way that he was happy in his job. He was doing everything right. Anyway, that's the beginning of this film, because he goes and investigates the death of his son. And it's really, really good. I forget the title, unfortunately. I just forget the title. But there's another one with film with Liam Neeson. That's it. You're great, Richard. You're great. Thank you so much. Richard Hawkins says, I think you're describing In Cold Pursuit. Yes, thank you so much, Richard. Thank you so much, my mate. That's really good. Have you seen that film, In Cold Pursuit?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's good, It's really good. It's really good. You can see the how can I put this? A happy marriage, and something tragic happens within that marriage, and the disintegration of that marriage.
Oh, yeah.
All because of this incident. It's really good. Laura Dern plays she plays the wife, and she was, albeit that it's not focused on her, you could see the disintegration. You could see the mental health coming into it. She's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the likes of Liam Neeson, he sees her. He knows. He sees it. He sees it just going, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And he does something. And as Richard says, great film, and it really is. It's a smashing film with Liam Neeson. And another film which is very good as well, with Liam Neeson again. And these are all on YouTube, by the way. Excuse me. Excuse me. Is Air Marshal. Have you seen that one, Air Marshal, Derek?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's really good. And it's about, he's a marshal, on the airlines.
Yeah.
And but he's a bit of a drinker, if you know what I mean. He's a bit of a drinker, and you wonder why. You just see him sitting in his car at the airport. He's drinking. He has a go at this. Anyway, he's looking at all the passengers. He's one of those. He just to observe who's getting on the plane and whatever. And when he gets on the plane, it's good.
Yeah.
It really is good because you're finding out these intricate characters and a couple of snides on it, but it's really good. So if you want to go film to watch, the Air Marshal is a good one, and that's on YouTube too. So there are some good films that you can watch.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, some of them have adverts, but most of them that I've watched on YouTube, they don't even have adverts in.
No,
Often they're subtitled, I've noticed, but that's no problem.
well, I pay a premium, to be honest. I do not watch adverts at all.
Yeah.
I avoid adverts. So I just, I paid this premium because it was always stopping and showing stupid advertisements. So I pay a premium. I've always paid a premium for that, as I said, there is somewhere wonderful. Richard Dawkins says The Fury is a great film. The Fury. Have I seen that? No, I don't think I have. Yeah, the vlogs. Yeah, I love that. One yesterday called The Rise of the Foot Soldiers, like a drugs gang film, was good. And that's what comes back from the. Yeah, I've seen that advertised. But, when you see the likes of a film and it catches your eye, you go, I wonder what that's like. Under Suspicion. Did I give you that to review?
No.
Oh, didn't I? Will you review it for me for the next time?
Yeah, sure.
I'll tell you who's in it. You like the stars in this one. It's a great film. Gene Hackman.
Oh, great.
And Morgan Freeman. Under Suspicion, again on YouTube, Derek. And it's one of those films where you go, from the very beginning to the very end, it's intriguing. But you wonder why he's under suspicion, if you know what I mean. So you can review it if you like, if you don't mind.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, and I tell you, I'm going to ask you to review another one because you'll be on before Christmas, won't you?
That's right, yeah.
There are 2 films I want you to review.
Okay.
Right, and we've seen this loads of times, but I want your review on it. Again on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, look. Hang on, I'm just saying the vlogs. Morgan Freeman, I think he is in every film that's existed. It just says, I think you're right there. Great film again, Under Suspicion. It ropes you in. Brilliant. Well done, Richard. And it does, as I said from the beginning, because obviously you like films. Derek. And if it's got a good start, then you see the middle of it and it still grabs you. The end of, and so if it's got a good beginning, good start, good beginning, good middle, and a great ending, that's all you need to know. But anyway, these 2 films I want you to review.
Yeah.
Right. And it's colorized, this. It's colorized. Everybody knows it. Everybody's seen it millions of times. It's one of the greatest of all. Do you know, Sherlock Holmes?
Yes.
The greatest Sherlock Holmes to me was Basil Rathbone.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
And Basil Rathbone was a World War I hero in the Liverpool Scottish, by the way.
Yeah.
He was a hero. And anyway, so you get your Sherlock Holmes, wow, he's the Sherlock Holmes forevermore. Right? But this fella is the original Scrooge. No one can beat him, and that's Alistair Sim.
Oh, absolutely.
So I want you to review it, but there's a special one, and you will be able to find it on YouTube. It's
I've got it on DVD.
It's a colorized version.
Yeah, yeah,
so
I've got
I
it on
want you
DVD.
to review, from the black and white that you know about to the colorized version. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, if you don't mind, Derek?
No, absolutely. I've actually got the colorized version on a DVD.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it once or twice. It's one of my all-time favourite films. I watch it every Christmas morning.
Oh, that's brilliant. And you know what? There's me, sir. Colorized, you've got it. But I'd like you to review. Don't review it now, please. I want you to review the black and white one and the colorized one, because I think there's something there about both of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So if you see that, and the other one, you may have seen or you may not have seen, and it's more of an adult one. This, in my opinion, it is an adult one, really, and it's. Do you like Billy Bob Thornton?
Oh, absolutely.
And it's, God blimey, Richard Hawkins is going to tell me the title. Oh, Bad Santa. Bad Santa. But there's two Bad Santas. But do Bad Santa, the first, not Bad Santa 2, Bad Santa. Just watch that.
And that's with Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton. And review those, please review those. And we love it. Still all right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's Alistair Sim. Absolutely love Alistair Sim. He was in the great scene. He played the headmistress, didn't he, in St. Trinian's movies. And he nurtured George Cole's career.
Yeah, yeah.
Very much.
Did you ever see him in an Inspector Calls?
I have seen it, but a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah. Now, that was a supernatural film.
Mm.
That was brilliant, though. An Inspector Calls. But Sim, if he's in anything, you know that it's going to... it's going to be a very good film. I'll tell you who else who I like in films is, that it's going to be good. This fella is one of the greatest actors, is honestly one of the greatest actors, in my opinion, in the world. And he was so diverse in anything he did. He was unbelievable. And that was, it was Alec Guinness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Alec Guinness, he could play sinister people. I watched him in a TV series, and it was Le Carre's, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. And he was the leader, he was the boss of MI6. He was brilliant. That's how sinister he can be, is Alec Guinness. And then you've got him in these mad little comedies, which are absolutely amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah, he's in some leading comedies, isn't he? He plays half a dozen parts in one of them. Absolutely brilliant.
Something in Coronets.
Kind-hearted Coronets.
That's it. And the Hill Street Mob, is it the Hill Street Mob? Like that. David Loman, that absolutely amazing, So this is what you have.
Yeah.
This great actor, and he's so diverse, as I said. Who could ever forget him in The Bridge on the River Kwai?
Oh, absolutely. Classic film. Yeah.
And he was in Hollywood, Get onto this. It's a true story, this. And he's in Hollywood, and I think it was over this bridge on the River Kwai or whatever it was, anyway. And he's outside this restaurant, And people, like they have these people on the doors because, like, film stars went there, so any riffraff like me and you, we wouldn't get in. So they stopped them. They said, no, And he was looking over. This is true story. And he was looking over at him, and he gets up from his table, this fella, walks over and went, you don't know who this man is. He's one of the greatest actors in the world today, and he's a good friend of mine. And the fellow went, besides Alec Guinness went, and the fellow said, excuse me, sir, I'm sorry, and this fella, this actor went like that, just stay away, and brought him over. And they had a meal together. Do you know who it was? Yeah. Going to surprise you there. James Dean. James Dean. James Dean. And they became good friends after that. And he was devastated when he was killed,
Oh, I can imagine. Well, he never made 3 films, didn't he, James Dean? Incredible. I think he was nominated for an Oscar in all 3.
Well, yeah, let me go to, see Dubs. Hey, Dubs. Hey, Dubsy. Yeah, Bridge Over the River Kwai.
Brilliant film.
And Richard says, Alec Guinness, our man in Havana, brilliant. And Paul Turner. Alec Guinness, he built a great bridge, although he got a bit carried away with it. That was the great actor this fella was. I loved him, everything he did. And I watch old films, I love old films. Yeah. And there's one where it's like do you know one of those, we called them tally men?
Yeah.
You're talking like the 30s and 40s and whatever. And he used to go around, and he used to lend money out. So that's how he built it up. And I don't know what it was called. And Petula Clark was in it.
Wow.
And it's a black and white film. She's dead young, isn't it?
Must be, yeah.
And, I think she's still alive, is she?
Petula, I think so, I don't know.
She's got 100 and odd, whatever she is. But it's a cracking, I forget the title of it. Yeah. And he's a tally man. And he's courting Petula Clark, but you don't see them like together at the beginning, and he's a shy person as well. Absolutely brilliant film, and that's where, and the man in the grey suit as well.
Yeah.
He gets this cloth, and it's an unbreakable cloth. But there's a caveat with the cloth and the suit. The man in the grey suit. Great films he did. Great films. And I'm going to, again, if you like old films, I love them myself. I love the old British ones. There's one called Night Train to Munich. Night Train to Munich. And I forget who's in it. And if you like Robert Newton,
absolutely.
I think it's about a boat to Dublin or somewhere. A boat to Dublin. Oh, what's it called? I'm sorry about that. I'll try and remember it. Night Train to Munich. There's one. It's about spies, little black and white thing, but it's good. It really is. I forget who's in it. I don't know whether Robert Newton's in that. Oh, no, he's not. It's just come to me who's in that. But it's good. Watch it. And also something about Dublin with Robert Newton. Cracking film. Yeah. It really is a good black and white. And you know what? The way I've seen Robert Newton in films, he's always got say like Long John Silver, we are, yeah, right. And you know, even in other films, all right, hey, but he's got his real voice in this one.
Mm.
He's an agent, and he's not half posh. He doesn't put it on. That's his real voice.
Yeah.
He doesn't put it on. You know, it's a total different from Jim. It's totally. What am I doing that for? But anyway, I love Robert Newton.
Yeah.
Incredible actor.
Well, I mean, Tony Hancock also takes off Newton, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, that
So
was
you
mad.
good company.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. She jumps, mated by jet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Guinness,
Great time.
Peter Sellers, Maggie Smith. Yeah, stellar cast. Mated by jet. Even the title, mated by jet. Mated by jet. Richard says, the one Alec Guinness you must watch is, oh, yeah, The Last Holiday. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, look, Richard, God blimey. Thanks, Richard. I think the Robert Newton film is Night Boat to Dublin. See what I mean? Like the last train or whatever it was to Munich. And I was going, I said, this boat. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Night Boat to Dublin. It's a cracking film. It really is a cracking film. And, you know, what kind of black and white films do you like, Jerry?
Oh, whole load of stuff. I love the eating comedies. I love Marx Brothers as well, and that American humor of that time. W.C. Fields, Marx Brothers. I love the 50s sci-fi films, The Incredible Shrinking Man, The Day the World Stood Still, War of the Worlds. You know, that whole load of film. Most of which, and the original thing is brilliant. The 50s black and white one. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, remakes. The actual, I think it's Carpenter remake in the 80s, was it, of the thing, was actually very good. And what it took advantage of was the special effects and stuff. And I thought that is one of the few films I've ever seen that was, you know, a really good second version of a classic story. So I'm a big fan actually of the sort of early black and white stuff. I like films like Hue and Cry and The Blue Lamp. You know, the start of the George Dixon films. Oh, TV series.
That was Jake Bogart. That started.
That's right. He was the bad guy.
And you know, like Jake, you know, he went on to be, you know, these wonderful doctor films and Always the Night. I tell you, I've got to get back to the Marx Brothers. So remind me to get back to that. There's one scene, which I was laughing then, you know, as you were talking. I'm sorry, you know, but I've got to get back to that. But Jake Bogart, there's a black and white film. You might have seen it. It's epic. And it's called, oh, fucking hell, what's it called? I had it there. I think it's called, no, it's not that. I think it's The Accused. I tell you what, Richard Hawkins is no bound to me. He's a barrister and he's married to Sylvia Sims.
Nice.
And he's being blackmailed. It's a black and white film. He's a barrister, married to Sylvia Sims, but he's being blackmailed. Oh, I forget what it's called. It's a cracking film, Derek. If you can like research that, you know, like put his name up with Sylvia Sims, you'll know what it. Came to me then. It's not The Accused. Is it The Accused? It's brilliant. Absolutely one of the finest films I've seen with Bogart in. Really. Anyway, getting back. I hope you remember this scene. I just think about it and laugh all the time. Victim, there he is. Look, Richard Hawkins. Victim, that's it. Richard, mille grazie, amico mio, thank you. Fantastic, absolute Victim. Derek, you've got to watch that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do me a favour, do that first, Victim, when you're on the next time. But
Okay.
give, and make the other two, as I said about Bad Santa and Scrooge, please, but do that one first, Victim. I'm made up you haven't seen it, and the acting, he's brilliant. Him, Sylvia Sims as well. She's a lovely actress. Anyway, getting back to,
The Marx
I
Brothers.
hope you remember this scene. Right, you see this this big fella was in some of their films. A big tall fella he is, like this. And the scene is where they're selling nuts, like peanuts. They've got two little, you get a Harpo, he's selling his nuts, right, on this like little stall, like what they sell hot dogs in, those kind of things. And this big fella, he's got his as well. I've never seen a scene like it in all my life. It's so some fella, he's got his hat on, this fella. And Harpo's got his hat on. And the Italian well in it,
Yeah.
Hey, I'm married, whatever. He's changing hats. And this fella with a big head, with this big hat on, he ends up with a little lass on top of his head. But you also see, this Harpo. It's impossible to tell you that, but I'll try and explain. The big fella, he's going mad, the fella, because they're messing about with him, especially the Italian fella, messing about, and all of a sudden you just see this fella, this big bruiser he is, with a little lad, and Harpo just standing there like that, but he's got his leg. He's got his leg, like the fella is holding his leg, but he doesn't realise he's holding his leg. Harpo, he's just swinging his leg like that. He's just swinging his leg like that. And this big fella is holding it, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, I don't know what the bloody film's called, but I always resonate with that. You know what I mean? I've been on buses, when you start thinking all these stupid things and you just start laughing, and it's terrible. When you're on a bus and you start thinking that's something funny and you start laughing. But that's one of the classic scenes I've ever seen in any film, and that's the Marxies.
Yeah, I think what's fun about the Marx Brothers is some of them are sight gags. Like that one, because they sort of cross over back into variety, and some of them are really clever scripted gags. Like I think it's Night at the Opera when they're doing the party, the first part, and they're tearing up this contract. They start with this 25 pages or 10 pages of contract. Party the first, we don't need that. Party the second, we don't need that, and they end up with about one sentence or something for the whole thing. And then you've got, I forget which film it is. Groucho singing the tattoo lady, I can't remember her name. Absolutely amazing. And the scene, of course, in the, I think it might be opera again, the cabin on the ship, when they're all getting in, it ends up with like 200 people almost in this one cabin. So I think for me, one of the things I love about the Marx Brothers film, I mean, some of the quips and some of the one-liners are absolutely amazing. And Margaret Dumont, was it the big lady that's in a lot of them? She was really good as well, and she was a great foil for Groucho.
Well, she was unbelievable, that lady, wasn't she?
Yeah. And
she just took everything in. And I always remember this big dance wherever they are in this club, fancy club, and everyone's dancing, and he's sitting down with her, and he went, "Can you rumba?" And she went, "Oh yes." And he went, "Well, we count from one to." What was it? It was something like, "Can you rumba?" You know, we'll count from 1 to 10. You know, like, can you? But it was the way it was said, if you know what I mean. Can you rumba? Yeah, okay, count from 1 to 10. You know, can you?
Out from nowhere, Alpo starts playing the harp, or Chico starts playing the piano, and they're both very good musicians. Very good.
Yeah, Chico, that's him. He always played the piano, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
He was an incredible pianist. Richard Dawkins is the classic Groucho line.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to be a member of any club that would have me as a member.
Yeah. Famously, he went into a swimming pool. So not in the movies apparently, with his daughter, and the guy came up to him and said, so "I'm sorry, Jewish people can't come into this swimming pool." And he said, "Well, my daughter's actually only half Jewish. Can she go into one half of the swimming pool?" I don't know if that's apocryphal, but it sounds like Groucho, and it's a great story.
Is that true? Like, you know, like Jews.
When I read it was, you know, claiming to be a true situation. It was in a sort of Groucho type biography. So
Wow.
I was reading it as if it was true, and I can believe it. I mean, if you go back.
Yeah, I don't think he'd say anything like that, to be honest. If you know what I mean, to try and make a joke out of it, I think that'll be true. That'll be true, because there was lots of apartheid. Was, you know, people don't realise, they just think that apartheid was in South Africa. There was lots of apartheid in America,
absolutely,
especially against Jews and against especially the blacks, and it's still like that today, to be honest. But the way things are today, I don't think Netanyahu has put any Jew in a favourable light, to be honest. That's shocking. But that's the way it is. Everybody's gone a different way. What's your favourite film, Derek? What's one, you know, a couple of your favourite films? It's hard, isn't it, to think just like
David Niven war film. I can't think of the
tell you what it is.
When there's the trial up in the clouds and the famous stairway to heaven.
Incredible film. Incredible. Is it there something about death, isn't it?
Yeah. Just like you earlier, it was at the tip of the mind when you started. But another one along the same, it'll come to me, A Matter of Life and Death.
A Matter of Life
and Death. Fabulous film. I also love Colonel Blimp movie. It's absolutely brilliant. And what's lovely about that is he's contrasting the old and the new. I mean, the guy is really old school, and they have these army maneuvers. And he really is, you know, playing the, the officer and gentleman, and playing with a straight bat, as it were. And it doesn't do him any good. I love films like that. I love Zulu, actually. I thought that was a great film.
Do you know what one of my favourites is?
And
this is a black and white one. And Sir Ralph Richardson was in it.
Yeah.
I tell you what it's called. It's called The Fallen Idol. The Fallen Idol. The storyline is absolutely amazing, right? And it's Ralph Richardson. He is like a butler sort of thing, and his wife is the head housekeeper in an embassy. So he keeps everything tight, in the household, and so does the wife. But the wife is so jealous of him. And the ambassador has a little boy in her, and he idolizes Ralph Richardson. Hence, the fallen idol.
Right. Yeah. Clever.
Oh, it's a cracking film.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
Richardson, he's always outstanding anyway. I love Richardson. And you've got, I'll tell you who's in it as well, as a detective. This is without giving the game away, and it's Jack Hawkins.
Oh, brilliant.
In one of his early film, I think it was his first film role, to be honest, Jack Hawkins.
Yeah.
It's brilliant film. An absolute brilliant film.
Yeah.
And it's just called The Fallen Idol.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favourite films of all time.
Yeah.
I've got
a big Hitchcock fan. And one of my favorites is Strangers on a Train. I just love the concept of two total strangers meeting absolutely by chance and deciding they'll kill each other's opposite half, because it's got to be the perfect murder, because there's absolutely nothing linking them to it. And I just think that's and it's a great film, obviously, from there.
Oh, Hitchcock, the master of suspense, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he's made so many good films. I mean, Vertigo, North by Northwest.
I love that film, North by Northwest, because you have Cary Grant, who's he's Cary Grant, but the two sinister fellas in it. No one better than James Mason.
Oh, absolutely.
And what's his name? He was in Space 1999, was it? Space 1999. Yeah, Space 1999. I interviewed his daughter. What's his name? He's well known. He's well known. Richard Dawkins will tell us. But he was in Space 1999. Commander Koenig, he was in it, And Barbara, that was his wife. They were both married, both of them were married, and they starred in this particular series. Anyway, they're the two sinister and North by Northwest sinister people. Absolutely. Martin Landau. Yeah, thank you. I interviewed Martin Landau's daughter.
Wow.
And Barbara Bain was a mother, that was her dad, and that was a mother. And I went like that, I went, thanks, Ian. Yeah, Barbara Bain was a sailor. Now, I said to her, it was shocking. I was just talking to her, the radio. And they're saying, well, what do you do? She's got this different name. And I said, I tell you what, I said, obviously you come from a theatrical entertainment background. I said, two great actors. Martin Landau and Barbara Bayer, and she went, "Don't you ever talk about them to me."
Oh dear.
And I went, "Oh, I thought she was messing." I said, "Oh, I just laughed." And she said, "No, don't you ever talk about them to me. Ever. Ever." That's what she was. And I went, "Oh, all right then." Never interviews her again after that. That's brutal.
Did you find out why?
She just
Did you find out why she wouldn't talk about it?
she hated them.
Oh, right.
Ask Jason about it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Incredible. But you know, you don't realise, like, when you're interviewing people, what they're going to come out with.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Mad. It's just, but that's absolutely true. That.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, North by Northwest, fantastic film.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you've got Cary Grant. Now, Cary Grant's always this smooth fella, isn't he? And he was in a film based in the south of France called The Thief. What was it called? He's a thief in it. He's a thief in it. You know, like a Raffles type thief.
Yeah, he plays a good part of that. We were just talking earlier about a film that grabs you right at the beginning. You're still there in the middle. And at the end, you find out what it was that was relevant. And for me, a great one of that is Orson Welles' Citizen Kane and Rosebud. I'm not going to say what Rosebud is, but it crops up throughout the film. And throughout the film, you're trying to work out what Rosebud is. And at the end, you do discover it. You'd never in a million years guess what it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's such a classic movie. A guy's career started at the top. It more or less stayed at the top, but his greatest achievement was his first ever film. And of course, scaring America half to death with War of the Worlds when people thought they were listening to a news broadcast. And it actually caused panic initially. Because you can imagine in those days, I think it was 1939 or 38, not a lot of television. And if you're listening to the radio and you come in halfway through, and the way the film was structured, it sounded like a news broadcast, an emergency news broadcast, and it actually fooled. It wasn't intended to fool anybody, but it actually created a panic because people thought it was real. And I think that shows the power of radio, television, and movies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you a great film as well. One of my favourites. But this was a stellar cast, and mostly it was a British cast. And one of my favourite actors of all time was in it. Right? And one of the greatest voices of all time was in it. Right? And this actor always changed his face in every film he did, whether little Mad knows whether it was anything. He always changed his face. I don't know whether you're aware of this. And he was in The VIPs. Have you ever seen that film?
I've seen it. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant film.
Yeah, great film.
Brilliant. Orson Welles.
Yeah.
What an actor.
What a talent.
Whoa, unbelievable, that man. Yeah. And then you had Burton and Taylor together. And what was that French fella's name? Louis Jourdan. Louis Jourdan. He was the lover of Elizabeth Taylor. And she was leaving Richard Burton to run off with him. Yeah. And Richard Burton's this big businessman, you know, and he loves her. You could see the chemistry between them, you know, on the film, because they were married at the time. Did you know that? they loved each other that much that they couldn't stay together, which was mad. Yet they adored each other.
Yeah.
It's,
I can understand.
well, Burton said that we were destroying each other.
Yeah.
We were destroying, and they said, do you know, on each other's death, it never happened, like, really. They wanted to be buried together.
Right.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that, actually.
But Burton's wife said, "Fuck that,"
Exactly.
And when Elizabeth died, that was the end of it. But that to me is one of the greatest love stories of all time. Burton and Taylor.
They're both brilliant actors.
Oh,
Brilliant.
And it's Michael Hordane was in this.
He's great.
He was an unbelievable. He was like in charge of the the whole of the airport.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Margaret Rutherford.
Yeah. Classic people.
Margaret Rutherford.
Yeah.
Can I just answer this? Richard says Orson Welles was great in the term. He was great in everything, to be honest, Richard. We've been asking about you, TW. Hi, Frank. Hope you're well. Sorry I haven't been around lately. Been struggling with my health. I will catch you up on the pod later today, hopefully. T. What did you say? Too well. Good job you never came up last night. On the night, it was sad that you weren't with us, unfortunately. Especially on Thursday night, when you said we get the. I've got to answer this fella. Frightening white tea. Hi, are you frightening white? Richard Hawkins, Margaret Rutherford, my fate. Yes. That's what I mentioned. I never mentioned there. When you mention Sherlock Holmes, Basil Apple. When you mention Miss Marple, Margaret Rutherford.
Absolutely.
But if you haven't seen, Richard, the VIPs, watch it. She has her husband in it, What's his name? I forget his name. He was in a couple of films with her as well as when she played Miss Marple. And she has him in the VIPs as well. Margaret Rutherford's her husband. But what an absolute mega cast. I tell you who else was in it, and he's not half changed. Oh, what's it? I'm going to mention a film that you'll know who it is. Richard Dawkins, well. What not? The Time Machine. Oh, what was his name? Remember The Time Machine?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
1960.
Yeah, brilliant film.
I forget who.
I can't do it.
The star is there.
Yeah.
But he was in this with Maggie Smith in the VIPs. Maggie Smith.
Brilliant.
And what's his bloody name? Anyway, he it was like pairing, if you know what I mean. Pairing each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Pairing Orson Welles with Margaret Rutherford.
Genius.
Oh,
where does that come from?
Have you ever seen the VIPs, by the way?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, but absolutely brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. It was in. Do you know what? I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. Rod Saylor, thank you. Thanks, Richard. Rod Saylor. Now, have you seen him today? I know you go old, but he's unrecognisable.
Ross Will. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
Rob
Rob Taylor. Yeah.
Rob Taylor.
Mm.
He's changed because he was a handsome fella.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't like saying, you know, but you know, you can age, but God blimey, you know, you can still keep some of your looks, if you know what I mean, recognised. But he was unrecognisable to me.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I say, like a couple of years ago, you know.
Yeah.
But getting away from that, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to review The VIPs, one of the best British films ever made. And I was just teaming up. It was great, you know, when I was watching it, I was like, the teaming up people, you know, like couples.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Maggie Smith, I always remember their performance. Maggie Smith.
Yeah.
Loved it.
You know, we were talking earlier about black and white genres and favourite films and stuff. One of my all-time favourite genres was the 30s gangster movies, Warner Brothers movies, Bogey and Jimmy Cagney. Because he's a dancer. He actually started life as a hoofer, which is, you know, not Jim Dandy, the Ding Dandy. He plays the part of Cohen. Absolutely brilliant. But I mean, I love White Heat. At the end, when he stands on the building, made it, Ma, top of the world, boom,
boom,
absolutely brilliant. And
just a great chapter. And when he goes like that, they always said that it was you know, the most violent thing in films, where you see him. This is a young Cagney, and you see him at a table having breakfast, and he gets the grapefruit and goes, everyone was shocked because it was laying your arm on a woman, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, that looks funny, but at the time, everybody was horrified, absolutely horrified.
Yeah.
But things like Angels with Dirty Faces, because that's a great one at the end. Can we talk about the end?
Yeah, no, talk about it, because I was mentioned it anyway. Go on.
Yeah, because you know, when he finally gets captured and stuff, and he's going to the death, to go to the chair, and then he breaks down. Don't do it. And you never know if he did that to save the dead end kids, because he was trying to persuade them away from a life of crime, or if he really did become a coward. And you never know which reason he had for that sort of breaking down, not going to the chair as, you know, the big man. And I thought that was
one of the greatest scenes, that, because no one knows whether he was, whether he, you know, he was crying, oh no, and he's trying to, you know, get away, no, please, you know, like a real coward.
Yeah.
Going to his death.
Yeah.
But to me, he did it for the Bowery boys. He did it for the kids. Yeah. Because he would have just gone, you know, Ed Elzai, because he knew exactly what he was, if you know what I mean. And you knew
absolutely.
Well, absolutely brilliant film. Brilliant.
I think that was almost certainly a very, very clever piece of writing. The writer wasn't intending to be right or wrong on either. It was basically just wanted to put this ultimate ambiguity into there to show what a complex character the Cagney character was. And
but don't you think as well, Derek, that he wasn't only, you know, like the Cagney scene where you see him walking down to the you know, the death chamber, you know, the chamber, to be executed, that it would have resonated with the ordinary cinema going people.
Yeah.
You know, because he really did. It frightened people. Must have frightened some people, you know, in a way. Well, I'm going to keep on the right path, because that's what you end up like on the, you know, death row, which is. I don't know though. Sorry.
I was just saying the Padre's there as well. I can't remember his name now.
Pat O'Brien.
Yeah, because he was a bit of a lad in his teens as well. He was trying to guide everybody, and the whole thing just comes together in that final scene.
He always plays a priest, didn't he? Pat
Yeah.
O'Brien. Anyone get a
Yeah.
priest, I'll play him. Him and Bing Crosby, The
Yeah.
Bells of St. Mary's,
Great film.
Some great.
And one of the Bogart films I absolutely love. In fact, I watched it a couple of nights ago. Was Casablanca. I think one of the greatest films of all time. It's got so many one-liners in it. The famous ones like, you played it for her, played it for me. Never ever said played again, Sam.
Yeah.
What amount to a hill of beans in this will always have Paris. But when I watched it, talking about, I've seen that film a dozen times, must have done. And I heard something for the first time last time, which is for me the best line in the film, and I'd never spotted it before. And when they're talking about going away together, he says, the plane flies at 4:00. I'll pick you up at your hotel at 3:30. And I thought, that's the way to fly. And I never spotted that line before.
Bogart was one of the great. Have you ever read The Moon's a Balloon?
No.
You've never read The Moon's a Balloon by David Niven?
I know it's David. One of his two, he wrote Bring on the Dead Horses as well, didn't he?
Yeah, no, I never read that. I just kept to The Moon's a Balloon.
Yeah.
And who talks about in it was Errol Flynn.
Errol Flynn, yeah, they were big buddies.
Bogart. And what he says about Bogart, they were mates.
Yeah.
And they're on Bogart goes out on his yacht and he invites David Niven, this like English, that's like, because he did have a brilliant English accent. That was his true accent, was David Niven. And he always used to do that, he has a habit of doing that, like with his tie or whatever. And he invited him on his yacht. And he had this big Dane, who looks after the yacht. The ship itself, whatever it is. And what's it? Dumbass or something they used to call this big Dane, big Danish fella. And anyway, there was rough sea, like it was rough, and the ship was going like, the yacht was like this, going all over the place. And they were sitting below. Oh, he came below. Bogart came below, sat down. And went like that because he asked Niven if he'd sailed before. He said, "Oh yeah, I've done a bit of sailing." You can imagine Niven saying that.
Absolutely.
And yes, I've done a little bit of sailing. And anyway, he came down. She went like that, and he went like that. Okay, big shot, go and sail over now. And he said, "I looked at him." He said, "Get up there." And he said, we got through the turbulence and that, and that's when we became friends. He tested you. Bogart tested you.
Yeah.
He tested your loyalty, if you know what I mean. He tested your loyalty. He tested if you were what you say you were, if you know what I mean. It's as simple as that. And, with Niven saying, "Oh, yes, I've sailed before." All right, get up there, big shot. That's what he called him, big shot. You can imagine him.
Talking of Errol Flynn, I lived in Northampton for a while and discovered that Errol Flynn started his acting career in Rep in Northampton, of all places.
Northampton, hey?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, I like Flynn. I like Errol Flynn. Great actor. And Richard says, "I love Casablanca, but my favourite Bogart is in I Sienna."
Yeah.
Brilliant film.
Oh, absolutely.
And one of the great lines in it, "Badges, we have no stinging badges." And these Mexicans, in that film, that's always resonates as well with me. Badges, because they asked for the Bogart says, "Where's your badges?" Because they said that they were cops. "Badges? We have no stinging badges." Great line. But what a film it is.
Yeah.
Walter, Walter Houston was in it, you know, like one of the Houstons, that was the dad, you know. He was in it. But there was a fella in it, and he's hardly ever mentioned. I even forget his name. I don't think anyone can remember his name. And he was the star in it as well, along with Bogart, the three of them. Oh, brilliant. But I've never heard him after that. You know, I never had seen him again in it. But he was a, you know, quite a decent actor. What a film, though. What a film. I think any Bogart was, what was he in? Another black and white thing. I think he played Marlowe. Was it Marlowe he played?
Oh, I know the one you mean.
No, was it? Christopher Marlowe wrote the bloody thing. You know what I mean, don't you? Is it Sam Spade?
Yeah, I can't think of the title either.
Yeah. And he goes into this shop. He's keeping an eye on this fella. And there's a little bookshop. And this fella goes in there. So he thinks that there's, you know, something going on there. So he goes in. And all as he does is this. He puts a pair of glasses on, pulls them down, and he's got this trilby on, and he just points the trilby up. And he goes in, he says, "Hello, I'm inquiring about a book," you know. It was just a little thing that he did that changed the whole persona of, like, this Sam Spade. It was brilliant the way he did it. I forget what it was called, though, by the way. Obviously, it was a murder one. So, you know, again, I love scenes that. Do you know what my favourite scene of any film is this? And it's one of my favourite films, by the way. And it's The Wild Bunch.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the scene where William Holden, Warren Oates, Ben Jonson, and Ernest Borgnine. And you see William Holden coming out of this thing, and you just see Ernest Borgnine sitting, you know, against the wall in this dirt road, you know, Mexico. And he comes out and he goes, and he just looks at him. And Ernest Borgnine stands up. Then you see the two brothers, Ben Jonson and Warren Oates, coming out of this other doorway, you know, where they've been with girls. They come out like that. And he just looks at them like this. And he just says, "Let's go." And you just see them walking down. They're all that, like, that music, you know, playing in the background, that Mexican music just going down. And the way they're holding the guns, knowing that they're going to the depths.
Yeah.
One of the greatest scenes ever in any film.
Yeah.
It's haunting. Richard says, Cornell Wilde was in it now. When I was young, I used to mix Tony Curtis and Cornell Wilde up. No, you can't mix Tony Curtis up, can you? You can't mix them two up. Cornell Wilde, Tony Curtis.
Well,
Richard, thank you. It was the Maltese Falcon I was talking about.
Yeah.
And, you know, think about that. Think about Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre and those.
Absolutely.
Need I say more?
Yeah, exactly. So talking about scenes that stand out in a film, going back to A Walk in the Clouds, absolutely nothing to do with the plot whatsoever. But one of the best scenes, I thought, in the film, complete contrast from what was going on, nothing to do with what was going on. It was harvest. They were collecting the grapes, and they put all the grapes into the vat, big vat. And there was a band there playing away, mariachi kind of band, half a dozen, 10 guys maybe. And it seemed to be initially, so well, no, most of the way through, it was just the ladies who got in and stamped all the grapes down. and the band's playing along, and they're singing this song, "Crush them grapes, crush them grapes," and and they're all dancing and they're splashing each other and they're throwing each other in the grapes becoming liquid. And I thought it was just an absolutely amazing scene, and particularly because it had absolutely nothing to do with anything else. It was just a scene that was in the middle of the film. I mean, it was very highly, it did develop the plot on, but the scene itself, absolutely awesome, I thought. I really enjoyed it.
It was, and
Good fun.
I forget his first name, Giannani. Oh, what's his name? He was an Italian actor. He was the husband of. He owned a farm. Well, he never owned it because it went through the family.
Yeah.
The grapes and he was the son of Anthony Quinn.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, another one.
That was his daughter, like Keanu Reeves. What a great cast! What a fantastic story! Everything, and there's a story. What I like, it's like a story within a story,
Absolutely.
and it's just like what you said before about the lake house. You know, the story within a story, and that's what you go for, rather than a flat story based story.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I love twists and turns to everything, if you know what I mean. And you know those films, they're unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, Walking the Clouds and Lake House, both very much love stories, but love stories like you've never seen them before. Really, really clever. There's, they're both operating in parallel in their different ways, driven by different motives. Absolutely incredible films, both of them. Highly recommended, I must say.
Well, they are. It's yours. Like as I said, I'm going to review next month when you're on. I'm going to review the VIPs. I'm going to have a look at. I don't need to, do I? Because I know all about it. But I'm going to have a look at it again, nevertheless. I think it's. See, I like science fiction films. I really do, and one of the best films ever seen. It was a low budget film. Was Extraterrestrial. Now I watched one the other night. Well, not the other night. It was the other day. And Martin Sheen, proper film, wasn't a TV film or anything. And it was called The Arrival. The Arrival. And Ron Silver, he's dead now, Ron Silver, good actor. Right, he's in it. And it's really good. A great actress by the name of Terry Polo's in it too. And it's called The Arrival. And The Arrival, I think on YouTube it's called They Are Here. And it's a cracking little film. It really is a cracking little film. And if anyone wants to watch that, it's called They Are Here. Or, the other title, the proper title is called The Arrival. Martin Sheen. Well worth a watch. Not to you, I've already given you plenty to do for next month. And I'm going to finish now because I've got my barber coming. It's got me mum bumps. It's got me hair.
Always good to have a hair.
It's good. That's what John Scott says, on my little show, on the football show when they have them in I have them on a Tuesday. He says, the hair, he's got nothing. Lovely man, gentleman. So we enjoyed it today.
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, it's great talking about films, and what's interesting is how the conversation, takes a link off into another direction, and you start exploring a whole host of new things, and that often brings you back. Like you were talking about a scene in a film, and that just reminded me of that scene in Walk in the Clouds, which is, it's just so much fun.
It is. You did a review, didn't you, the last time, The Family Man?
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
You see what I mean about clever films? I only like clever films.
Absolutely. So do I.
I'll tell you another film to have a look out for with Nicolas Cage. I think it's called Next. Just Next. And it's about this fella. He's a magician.
All right.
Nicolas Cage in Las Vegas. And he's got a time lapse of 4 seconds. He's got a time lapse of 4 seconds, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You can see things that's going to happen in 4 seconds.
Oh, right.
Brilliant.
You can see ahead for 4 seconds.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Oh, sounds good.
Absolutely brilliant. It's a cracking film. And I'm sure it's just called Next. Nick Cage. And if you ever like put up his name, you'll see it. Have a look at that.
Yeah.
Next. As I said, he's got, we can see something in the future 4 seconds ahead.
Yeah.
And it's surprising, It's surprising, what goes on within 4 seconds if you can see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like us sitting here talking, but it's really good. As I said, he's a magician in Vegas. You don't see him doing magic tricks or anything, but that coincides with the film.
Brilliant.
It's good. Honestly, it's really, really good. So I'm going to finish on that. I've got to get ready for this Barbie. In other words, I've got to tidy up.
And put the kettle on.
Yeah, I'm actually parched, But he comes to me anyway. I can't walk. I really can't walk, so he comes to me, which is good. Which is good. And Richard says, thanks, Frank. Thanks, Derek. Stay safe, everyone. And tell someone you care about you love them. Yes. I've only got my daughter and my grandkids. That's about it. Tomorrow may be too late. Absolutely, because you never know.
Yep.
We're in this sort of predicament now. I was yesterday, Derek. I was listening to Boris Johnson, and he wants to send in British troops into Ukraine. That's certain death.
Absolutely.
He should go in. He should go in. He should, be the first. Him and Starmer, should be the first. You don't do that. What's Ukraine got to do with us? I'm being honest. Ukraine has got nothing at all to do with us. I don't think that they knew where Ukraine was before all this.
Yeah.
And they're wanting to send British troops in.
Yeah.
If they go in, they're dead.
Yeah.
They are dead. And have you seen this new missile they've got?
Yeah.
They don't need nuclear power.
No.
They don't need to nuke any. They just send these up. It goes and burrows into the ground. And then the explosion underneath just turns everything to rubble underneath. You can't hide. in these bunkers or anything.
Mm.
And whatever's on top of the ground is rubble. It just goes to dust.
Yeah.
These are powerful weapons.
Yeah, I mean, these doomsday bombs, they just mean that if we did have an all-out conflict, there won't be any winners. There might be
No,
a few.
there's no winners. There's no winners. But the way the Americans are shaping up, see, they told lie. Why they're sending in these big, they have to have a lie. And they've always fucking lied, these Americans. Always lied. Right. So they have to have a lie to send in these things. Now, you know that North Korea has always been a bane in the backside of the American deep state. You know, the White House, North Korea, because, you know, they couldn't defeat them in the Korean War, 53, 54. Right. So it's always been a bane. So that's the enemy. So what did they do? You know, to make an excuse to send these long-range weapons deep into Russia, which is wrong. It's like someone fucking bombing this country here. Anyway, they said there was North Koreans there. North Korean soldiers helping Russia to fight the Ukrainians. So that was an excuse. How dare you how dare you bring in North Koreans? It was all a blag. It was a lie. It was a complete and utter lie just to have these things. But Biden, I don't think Biden's, he's not compos mentis. He's definitely not compos mentis. There's nothing there. He's gone, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely.
And Blinken and the other fella, Jake Sullivan, they're the main culprits behind all this. They just hate Russia and Victoria Nuland, these people. And they want to start a war. They love to see NATO going. NATO has got nothing at all to do with Ukraine. We've got nothing at all to do with Ukraine. But everybody, all Europe is under the thumb of America, except a few countries like Slovakia and Hungary, and now Georgia. You know what I mean? They've got nothing at all to do with the EU. They just don't want anything at all to do with this war. And as Viktor Orban said, the president of Hungary, he said, "What's Ukraine got to do with us? What's it got to do with Europe? They weren't in the EU. They weren't doing anything. You weren't until this happened, under the thumb of America and the proxy war." It's what Boris Johnson finally came out and said, we must win this proxy war. He admitted it. They've been dismissing that as a lie. Proxy war. They've been dismissing that until it just came out. And there's a fella by the name of Lindsey Graham. Now, Lindsey Graham let slip why they want Ukraine. They want Ukraine because it's got $14 trillion worth of whatever they've got there. Forget what it's called. 14 trillion. And he said, we cannot allow the Russians to put their hands on it. So again, it's greed. It's money. It's not oil this time. It's something else. And that's the sad thing about this war. They should have just left Russia and Ukraine to carry on. That would have been over now, by the way. Would have been over. And they're just escalating everything. And now they want to give Ukraine nuclear bombs. Nuclear missiles, not bombs, but nuclear missiles. And it's just horrendous. I'll just finish off with Richard here. We have enough problems with our own homeless and hungry without getting involved in war. Absolutely. We have 5.2 million children below the poverty line. And this Labour government, Labour, has given he's given billions to Zelensky, the most corrupt fellow. He's not even a leader. He's just an ordinary civilian now. And he's made billions. It's a big laundry. It's a washing machine. The laundering the money there. All the billions that's going into Ukraine is going back to America. It's ludicrous what's going on. Well, anyway, on that wonderful note, yeah, it's great. So when you review those, especially, I was made up when you said I've got the colour version. I thought I was saying something there. But I want you to review, both, what it's like with black and white, what it's like with colour, and Bad Santa. If you don't
I look forward to that. Absolutely. I'm one of these people who loves Christmas. I love Christmas films. I love everything about Christmas. I can eat turkey every day of the week for the following week. Curry, fried, roast, whatever you like.
But before you do that, remember the film Victim. I want you to review that.
Yeah.
First, then review the Christmas ones because they're in Christmas. We're in Christmas mode.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So, Victim first, Christmas Carol, second. Or if you want to leave it till the last and do Bad Santa, it's entirely up to you. You're reviewing it, but do Victim first, please, with Dirk Bogarde.
Dirk Bogarde, yeah.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much for keeping me company this morning.
My pleasure.
Thank you all the chat, for keeping both myself and Derek company. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'll be seeing you tomorrow sometime, the football fans, because I'll be doing a post-match after the City game. Thank you so much, everyone. And see you. And I'll see you on the History Show as well on Monday evening. Derek, mille grazie. Thank you.
Cheers. My pleasure. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Me too.